From the positivist anthropist point of view, the universe exists so the handful of scientists today could discover its laws, therefore, the universe conforms to their perception. But they are operating with only one particular thinking layer of intelligence that corresponds to the things they have seen. This is a primitive point of view that denies higher intelligence and is based strictly on what is reported by the physical senses. Beyond this, there is the immensity of God. In the mind of God, there are thinking layers beyond the realm of reason. What we call cosmic science is a thinking level or layer beyond positivism. These thinking levels and layers exist in some ways independent of the entities that channel them. They are there and available according to the level of enlightenment or attainment of the sentient being or entity. We are breaking out of the tired mold of the Homo sapiens as the Absolute intervenes in the form of a supramental model of reality, presenting a higher thinking level or layer than what was previously known. This particular thinking layer says, no, in the beginning there were not leptons and quarks. In the beginning was the parton, and the parton summarized the 6 types of electricity, and what you are looking at in the leptons and quarks is just a slice of the microscope of some form of cosmic electricity, beyond your comprehension, because it does not fit into your model of the universe. But you are calling that string theory, or you are calling it lepton, or you are calling it quark. In the string theory, it is said that all the electrons exist on these different strings, which of course no one has ever seen, and that there may be as many as 11 dimensions. But where do these other dimensions exist? Oh, they are curled up at the end of the string. Just think about this. Is this rational? What does this tell us? According to cosmic history, the mental universe consists of different thinking layers. Depending on the level of thinking you tune into, this is the kind of question you will ask and this is the kind of answer you will get. If you presuppose yourself to saying, I submit there is a greater force and the universe is a function of this greater force and therefore there is a greater intelligence than me and therefore the universe is a function of the mind of that intelligence, and yes, there is what is referred to as the observable universe, and yes, if we use these instruments we will get these kinds of answers. But those are not the type of answers that describe or define the whole of the observable universe by any means, nor is the observable universe the only universe. If we admit this, then we can start to get the threshold of the supermental. We have to get to that to be able to see the reality beyond the havoc that is being created now by the inability to understand the laws of karma and see the consequences of the actions of the Homo sapiens. Be worried, be very worried, says the cover of Time magazine's special report Global Warming, April 3, 2006. But what the human should be really worried about is understanding the law of karma. From the cosmic science point of view, what is occurring on the planet is an inevitable perturbation caused by disregard of the laws of karma and operating inflexibly in a worldview that says only the third dimension exists and the clock is the measure of time. However, this perturbation will pass because the structure that supports it is actually flimsy compared with the history of the entire universe and the history of the world and the multidimensionality of the whole of universal reality. If the Earth is 4 billion Earth years old, and this structure of the current civilization is scarcely more than 5,000 years old, or even 200 years old, the technosphere, then we can just go flick, and it is gone. It is not about anything you thought it was anyway. It is about whether you know how to submit, and through that, realize there is a higher intelligence and a higher mind, and tune into that because that is where it's all going. It seems that after hundreds of different ways of saying this, it begins to communicate and someone begins to say, "Oh, I see." We have been formulating our thinking patterns and not examining our minds, and accepting our projections for the answers of the truth, and we are not seeing anything at all. We are only being given feedback of our own unexamined minds. There is, by analogy, a going from one level to another. So there is some type of evolutionary ascent that has to do more with the mind and spirit than with matter. So let us get on with the business of evolving into the supermental and transforming through this technospheric bubble that we are currently experiencing. The purpose of this analysis is to shed light on scientific approaches so that we can begin to construct a cosmic worldview that explores the questions: what is our place in the cosmos? What are we in the cosmos? If the cosmos is constructed with meaning, then what is the meaning of our lives in the cosmos? What is the science that comprehends that meaning? In our exploration of cosmology, there are two places to begin. One is in the human perceptions, and the other is in the mind of God. Of course, we begin with our human perceptions and say, okay, look at the clouds or the stars at night. What is this? Then the other place of origin is the mind of God. When we submit, we say, I submit that my perceptions themselves may be a relative function of this minuscule cosmic entity called human being, and that if there is evolution, then there must certainly be a stage of human beyond the human. Submission and humility open the door to the supermental descent, dissolving and transforming the present human into the superhuman. The superhuman is endowed with cosmic consciousness to know that it is an androgynous, ever-evolving interval of expansive cosmic enlightenment. The sixth day of creation has finally ended. The seventh is just beginning. This is a tremendous moment to experience. The purpose of a supermental descent such as cosmic science is that it is necessary to fill the perceptual gap of limited consciousness in order to zip up the evolutionary process. Since elsewhere in the evolutionary spectrum there is a beyond, by divine will and submission, from time to time, the beyond is allowed to descend into our affairs. We talk about cosmic science because it is an extraterrestrial, avataric parachute drop. It is the redemption of the science of historical materialism. To know the whole of it, understood from cosmic science point of view, is that the evolving human is actually operating with 6 mental spheres. We will see that once the cosmic history reformulates the human mind and re-establishes the absolute, and allows for the descent of the supermental through the embodiment of certain beings to become the catalyst of a whole evolutionary type, the superhuman or the homo nosphericus, then we will be well on our way to the salvation of the planet and species. This can only come about through an evolutionary renewal that occurs at a spiritual mental level. We will then find our capacity to place this little planet in alignment with what we might call the axis of spiritual universe. Right now, we live in the shadows of consciousness of a planet that is not aligned with the axis of spiritual universe. The 3 universes, moral, imaginal, and phenomenal, are totally aphasic. Through the descent of the supermental and the rehabilitation of the imaginal realm, we will bring the imaginal, phenomenal, and moral universes into alignment, out of the shadow and into the light. Only then can we align the axis of the earth with the axis of spiritual universe. With perceptions refashioned through cosmic science, we will see paradise.